Hello everyone, here with another shaky cam video, sitting here in my basement. This time I'm going to do a video on one of my Packard Bell machines. This one in particular, I don't know the model. I've looked on the back. I can't seem to identify it in any which way. Maybe if one of you know, you can let me know. But I do know it's based on the, I think it's the Packard Bell 520 motherboard, socket 4. Interestingly about this computer is that while officially the chipset supports both 60 and 66 megahertz front-side bus and CPUs, strangely the 66 megahertz option is disabled. Even if you change the jumpers, it remains at 60 megahertz no matter what. I'm sure there's a way to fix it, but I've got another socket 4 machine with a 66 megahertz front-side bus CPU, so I'm not worried about it. But this one is an original Pentium 60 megahertz, and it has the floating point division flaw. So that's pretty cool, pretty rare. That's why I keep it in my collection. I've tried restoring this back to original factory as much as possible, within reason. I don't have the proper Packard Bell Restore CD. I haven't put much effort into looking for it. But I have configured, or at least installed, the software to be about as error correct as possible. But let's take a look inside. Hold on while I pause the video and take the cover off. Alright, here we are. So, this system has a Pentium 60. The CPU fan was never, or at least the heatsink, was never actually secured down. So, it's a good thing it's in a desktop case. The CPU socket itself has no clips, so I can't use a standard fan with clips to clip it down, so I have to leave it this way until I can find a better solution. The original configuration did come with only 8 megs of RAM, if I'm not mistaken. I put 32 in there just because I have lots of extra SIM chips lying around, and so why not? The video is onboard ATI Mach 32, which is different from some of the other Packard Bell motherboards that do like a Cirrus Logic or something, or an S3. This one has a Mach 32. I thought it was supposed to have 1 meg of video RAM, and you can upgrade it to 2 using these sockets back here, if you can see where I'm pointing. I even bought the proper chips to install in them, but regardless if I have these installed or not, the system only recognizes 256 kilobytes of memory. So I'm not sure what's going on there. And once again, I don't care to put too much effort into trying to figure it out and fix it, because I've got way too much on my plate right now. Maybe some other time. I've got other more important fixes that I need to do that maybe I'll videotape or not. But I do have an original Packard Bell sound card. This is a Multimedia Pro 16, I believe made by Aztec, if I'm not mistaken. I threw a PCI networking card in there. You can barely see that right under there. Interestingly, the PCI slot faces the opposite way, and there's no blocking ISA, so it's not shared. However, what is interesting to me is that the other side also has 2 slots that are also non-blocking, so no shared slots. You could have 1 ISA and 1 PCI on this side, and then there's 2 ISA and 1 PCI on the other side. So with the open slot here, I went ahead and installed a Cirrus Logic GD5430 video card. Figured that was about era appropriate. It has 1 megabyte on board, should be upgradable to 2 megabytes. However, those chips seem to not be working, even though they're populated. These chips here are not getting recognized. There's no jumpers that I can tell, so I just assume you plug them in and they should automatically get detected as 2 megs of RAM, but it's still got 1 meg. And I suppose that's fine for now. It does the job. So yeah, that's the innards, and I do have, can't remember if this is a 4X or an 8X CD-ROM, but I think it's about as close to the original as I can get. It even matches the off-coloring from the aging of the case. As you can tell, the floppy drive looks a little bit newer, a little bit whiter. But yeah, that's the insides of the case. Now let's power it up and take a quick look. Please wait one more time while I pause the video and put the case back on. Alright, voila. Case is back on. Let's power it up. Got it connected here to a, I think this is a 14-inch Acer monitor. This monitor came with the first computer I ever bought my wife, and her first computer overall. Was an Acer Aspire. I'll feature that in another video sometime. It's a pretty cool machine, still have all the original parts. Those are the original Acer speakers that came with it. And I do have the original Acer keyboard. But yeah. Not using it at this particular moment. And we've just started it up. I believe the system probably would have come with DOS 6.2. Fun thing about DOS 6.2 from Microsoft was that it was pulled from the market. This was the current version that had double space. It had the bug fixes for the original double space in DOS 6. But it was found to use infringing code on, I think, Stack Electronics compression. And so Microsoft had to pull 6.2 off the market because of the infringing code, and there was an injunction against them. So they quickly released DOS 6.21 without double space. If you already had double space, like if you upgraded from 6.0 to 6.21, you could keep your double space. Or if you upgraded from 6.2 to 6.21, you would keep your double space. But if you installed 6.21 fresh, you would not have double space. It wasn't until the follow-up release shortly thereafter, 6.22, the one everybody loves to use on YouTube, that actually has drive space with the infringing code removed. So a little bit of interesting trivia there on DOS versions. And of course, this machine is just a bare basic machine. Could run some benchmarks here. Not really sure they matter. I'm not too big in showing off benchmarks. I guess some people might like them for comparison's sake. But I did want to show, see if I can do this one-handed typing. So this is a utility suite that I've been working on. This is one of the reasons why I have no time to tend to my old computers. I've been writing software. This is a system information program I've been focusing on. And as you can see, it properly detects it as an Intel Pentium, and it properly detects that it has the integrated floating point bug. Sorry for the flicker. That's obviously coming from the refresh rate colliding with the refresh rate of the phone, the refresh rate of the monitor. There is no actual flicker looking at the video itself. Maybe one day I'll actually get that software finished up, and I'd love to release it to the public, to the community, and hopefully other people will find the rest of my utilities fun to use. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and log into Windows. And of course, I have Windows 3.11 on here. This may have been an original factory configuration. May not have. I don't know. I know the Pentium 60 and 66 came out in 1993, and I think Windows for Workgroups came out in 94, so maybe not. It depends on about what time this system would have been sold. It could have been upgraded to Windows 3.11 in 94. Although the regular Pentiums came out then, and they were far better than the original release, so... But of course, I like installing Windows for Workgroups because it has the built-in networking client, which is perfect, because I do have a legacy server running, an NT4 server domain to map all of the drives, and I can access all the software I need to, as you might have seen in my last IBM PS2 video if you watched it. If not, you should go take a look. Yes, self-plugging. And of course, we have all sorts of software installed here. This came with the Cirrus Logic video drivers for changing the video mode. Win32 applications. I have a registered copy of PKZip. Yeah, this has got to be so exciting for people who care. I am a registered user of WinImage 5 because I think the software is definitely worth registering. And thank you to the author of that for creating that for the rest of us. I am running QEM on this system, QEMM. I like to call it QEM. I don't know if anybody else does. But it definitely identifies it as a Pentium, genuine Intel, 60 megahertz. It does not seem to detect a floating point bug. Interestingly, though, little side note, if you are installing Windows 95 or even NT 3.5, not sure about 3.5, but definitely 3.51, it will detect if you have an FPU flaw in your Pentium and offer to install a software workaround so that your calculations are accurate. But yeah, it definitely detects it. Well, it detects it as a GD610. Maybe that was some sort of internal model, GD610, 620, but the chip itself definitely identifies it as a GD5430. So fascinating. What else can I show? Maybe I will run a benchmark for you. Unfortunately, as with a lot of Packard Bells, when exiting Windows with a PS2 mouse, I don't know what the root cause is, but for some reason there's this long delay before the command prompt returns. And you always know when the command prompt is about to return because the optical light on my mouse will actually flash, and then the command prompt returns. So there you go. Let's go into DOSBench. Good old Phil's computer lab. Thank you very much, Phil, for releasing this to everybody. Pretty sure I should be running this without a memory manager present. I personally love SpeedSys is the only benchmark that I really like. I mean, I suppose the Quake and Doom demos are interesting for comparative performance. Warning. Oh, there you go. So it doesn't like it. It's angry about Smart Drive and not and running in virtual 86 mode. Ooh, hey, that's not happened before. I hope my video card's not screwing up. Let us try booting without a memory manager present. Just hit the reset button there. "32 megabytes. 32 megabytes. I don't know where you were in 1984, but when I was back then..." Never mind. I should probably clip that out of the video. Too bad I don't know how to do clipping yet. It's all straight one-shots. Oh, shoot. I didn't catch it. Yes. Alright. CD DOS. Bench. One-handed typing rocks. DOS. Bench. And N for SpeedSys. SpeedSys. Why did I put a T at the end there? I swear I don't have a speech impediment. There we go. No graphic bars on the screen. I bet you that was an incompatibility problem with the QEMM stealth mode for BIOSes. It'll actually relocate your video and your system BIOS into expanded memory so that it can map upper memory blocks in those same areas that your video and BIOS normally occupy. And some software doesn't have a problem with it. When they do BIOS calls, QEMM will map in and out the appropriate functions and pass the functions along into expanded memory, so it's still accessible from the system, from the CPU. Unfortunately, other software that tends to do direct access will end up having a problem with it, and so that's why it's working perfectly fine without the memory manager. Interesting. It still thinks that the ATI Graphics Ultra Pro is enabled. It thinks I have 2 video cards. I think there's a jumper that I need to switch to turn that off. I don't need to have the onboard video enabled. I'll have to take care of that. Any other little modification I made to this system that isn't factory default is the fact that this has a 1 gigabyte hard drive. I thought it was a 1.2, or maybe that was one of my other machines. This is saying I have a 1 gigabyte hard drive there on the screen. And I think a more appropriate size for the era that this machine would have been released would have been right around the 540 megabytes range. A little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. This machine probably would have been sold with a 450 or a 540. And it's done. It wants to do the drive test. I'm not going to bother. You guys have seen these tests before. Generally, they're, once you've seen one, you've seen them all. The system is not much different than many others. So just wanted to give a quick video and show one of the other museum pieces that I have, from my collection. I love this one because it has the floating point division flaw, and so therefore it's unique, and that's why I keep it. I do actually have a Pentium 66 with the FPU flaw, but I upgraded that system with a socket 4 Pentium overdrive, so it's actually operating at 133 megahertz, and it has the floating point flaw fixed with the overdrive chip. And that's what makes that system unique, is that it's running the overdrive chip at 133. So that's why that's in my system. So maybe one day I'll show a video on that one. But in the meantime, that's been this video. That's been this system. Thank you for coming along with me and taking a quick look. Appreciate it.